This house is clean. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to After the Buzzer. I am your host, Couper Moorhead, coming to you after the Miami Heat have ended their 10-game losing streak, beating the Charlotte Hornets 122-105. Andrew Wiggins scores 42. Tyler Herro scores 29. Both of those players lead the Heat in plus-minus. We will talk about both of them and their contributions to ending the longest losing streak of the Eric Spoelstra era. But before then, it's kind of funny. After the Detroit and Houston losses, numbers 9 and 10 in the streak, we kind of commented that had those losses come at any other point in the season, at any normal part of the season, there really wouldn't have been much consternation about them. Yes, there was a tough shot from Cade Cunningham that beat them, and it was a clutch loss, but the Heat played well enough to win both games. They felt like normal games. But the fact that they were in part of the losing streak, it just kind of added on and piled on to everything that was going on top of all the bad vibes. But now Charlotte, this game is kind of the flip side of that, the mirror effect in a way, because had this win come at any other point in a season during a normal part of the season, there really wouldn't have been much commentary about it. It's just a good win. Double digits up most of the second half. You held them off. They overcame a sloppy start. They were down double digits, made a huge run, a 28-6 run, controlled most of the second half, cruised to a win. There would not have been much worth remembering, but because it's the game that ended the streak, it is now a game that everyone will remember for that purpose. And, that's just the league. Sometimes you look a month ahead in the schedule, back in February, like, okay, we're playing Charlotte in this part of the schedule and just planning things out. You don't really think there's going to be anything special about playing, what seems like you're going to be playing a lottery-bound team. But, the schedule changes and things happen, and all of a sudden this is a game that everyone will remember as the one that ended the streak. And it ended in large part because of Andrew Wiggins scoring his most points since the 2016-17 season, 42 points. He set a career high in jumpers made with 11. His previous high was 10. And, when the trade with Golden State was made, during that episode of After the Buzzer, we noted that Wiggins was the kind of guy who could go off for 30 on any given night. He had done it, X amount of times to the Warriors, and the Heat really hadn't had that supplementary player who can they had guys who could score 20, 15, 20, maybe 25 on, a special night, but they didn't have guys who could go for 30 plus. That's a rare level, of NBA player of skill set. But Wiggins was that guy, and there was a settling in period. But then, and there was time missed due to injuries. But, the other night he has a 20-point quarter in the loss to Houston, and then in this game he is just unbelievably hot, making every shot he took. Jumpers were pure all night. Charlotte was in a weird spot because they were kind of out of wings, out of perimeter defenders, and their best one remaining, Miles Bridges, they put him on Bam all night. So Wiggins had kind of smaller guards, smaller wings on him most of the evening, and they couldn't do anything with him. Wiggins backed them down. He drove on them. Anytime he wanted to get a jumper off, all he had to do was rise up over the top, and the Charlotte's players, the guys that they had available for the most part, really didn't have any chance of contesting what Wiggins was putting up. So it's a great night for him. Showcases all the skills that the Heat will need from him going forward. He's not going to score 42 every night. He's not going to shoot this well all the time. He's not going to average, 25 or 30 most likely. But he can be that third scorer, and most importantly, he's not just a make or miss guy, because he can attack mismatches when Tyler gets maybe the one team's best defender, maybe when Bam gets another team's best, most mobile, bigger defender. Wiggins can find those matchups in between, find the guys that can be attacked, and he can shoot over top of them. He can take them down, back them down in the post. He can do that in the first quarter, second, third, or fourth. They will need that from him going forward, but this is just really nice to see him kind of coming along, finding his place in the Heat's offense that needs guys like him to take shots. And he says, everybody has been encouraging him. We need him to be aggressive, in their words. He was sure aggressive tonight. There was no hesitation whatsoever. But joining him along the way was Tyler Herro with his 29 on 19 shots. And look, Tyler is not the story of the night, but I think it's really worth pointing out that he continues to adjust his game to how teams are adjusting him. Obviously, he came into the year with this new shot profile. He was shooting the lights out all the time, career high numbers and three-point percentage and everything. But now that his three-point percentage has come down a little bit, it's important to note that his true shooting percentage is still far and away a career high because he's changed his game up so much. He was never going to shoot as well through the first couple months of the season. That was probably not going to always sustain throughout, a full year, because if he had, that would have been the best non-Steph Curry shooting season in the history of the league. But as, and the shot quality, of course, and three-pointers has come down because teams are pressuring him at the arc. They don't want him to take the shots he is trying to add more of. So as teams are taking away those threes that he added to his profile, he has adjusted by, getting downhill, absorbing the pressure, and then, going down and getting into the paint, not taking as many mid-range two-point jumpers, but taking short twos in the lane, using really nice decelerations, getting, planting on one leg, slowing down on one leg, and still rising up one leg floaters. He's got a really great touch, a soft arc, and he's been finishing well on drives with both hands. I just want you to hear from him what he said tonight when I asked him about his shot profile and how the last month kind of fits in to his overall approach to the game this year.
I don't know. I ain't really like it the last month, honestly. Just the way everything's been going. Obviously, we've been losing. But my shot profile was definitely kind of gotten back to the years past, mid-range shots, floaters and stuff like that. Obviously, the way guys are guarding me now, I'm not getting the same catch-and-shoot threes I was getting at the beginning of the year. And even my pull-up threes off the bounce aren't the same I was getting early on. A lot of guys are blitzing me or being switching or being up on the pick and roll. So I just finding different ways to be aggressive. I'm not going to get the same shots every game, just the way guys are guarding me. But I just got to find different ways to be efficient. Also context a game, knowing when to shoot the pull-up too, which I think I'm doing pretty well.
So there you have it from Tyler. He's adjusting to the adjustments, to the counters. And that's the story of being a really good player in the NBA. You're always going to have to adjust to how the teams, how they scout you and the quality of defenders they put up on you and the schemes they throw at you to try and take away the things that you want to do most. It's not exactly an ideal shot profile. Obviously, he would like to be taking more threes. He'd like to be taking more catch-and-shoot threes. But this team needs him on the ball. They need his ball handling. They need his creation, his playmaking. He doesn't always have the luxury of being able to play as much off the ball. They'll probably find ways to get him back doing that, especially as Wiggins is healthy. Eric Spoelstra noted tonight that Tyler's shot diet, his profile, is a little bit different when Wiggins is there because Wiggins can take some of the attention. Wiggins can create for Tyler. That part helps. But overall, just keep an eye on what Tyler's doing because I think it's really interesting the way the give and take with opposing defenses. Last thing, with the standings, the Heat didn't really do anything but hold ground tonight. They're still a game back of the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls have that tiebreaker, and they sit number 9. They are 5 games back of Atlanta, with Atlanta also winning. So, it's going to be tough still to climb back up into that 7-8 range, but they've got a game left with Chicago. That game's going to be huge as far as getting up to number 9 and at least getting a home game at the start of the play-in tournament. But that is a discussion for another day. What matters right now is the losing streak is over. The streak is dead. Ding dong, all of that stuff. The streak, what matters is that streak is a reminder. It's a feeling you never want to have again. That's for sure. It's a reminder of what a true regular season struggle looks like. It's, why 1 or 2 random losses here or there in December, January, February, why those, every season you're going to have losses. You're going to have normal losses that come. It's just part of being in the NBA. And they don't always, really amount to much. Sometimes you just have a loss, you take it, and you move on. But when you're on a losing streak like that, it reminds you, things can get, a little sloppy sometimes. Well, maybe not sloppy, but they can get, tough. And the Heat haven't had a tough losing streak like that in a very, very long time. And it's also a reminder that it's just really difficult, not just to win games, but to close games out, especially when you're able to get leads. He can put all of that behind them now. And with the Golden State Warriors coming to town, they get a chance to start a winning streak of their own. And hey, that's all anybody can ask for right now. So that's all for today. This has been After the Buzzer. I'm Couper Moorhead. Thank you for joining me. We will see you next time very soon. Take care.